The round of 16 is done. It's completely over, finished. All the places in the quarterfinals have been taken up, and if you missed the action this week, hey man, I've got you covered. Also, with the conclusion of this round means that we have to check in on my round of 16 predictions. So, I'll have a double upload for you guys today. Be sure to check out my reacting to my round of 16 predictions video later today to see how I did. And to make sure you don't miss it, if you're new, just subscribe. And away we go. Okay, let's start with Roma vs Shakhtar. Sorry, gotta limber up. As the plucky Ukrainian side tried to steal a result from the Stadio Olimpico in this matchup, and you sort of got the feeling that if they had scored first, this tie would have been done. Unfortunately, the occasion seemed to get the best of them as they didn't look comfortable in this match at all, at least nowhere near to the side that played the first match at the Medalist Stadium. But credit to Roma, whose defense completely shut out the tricky Brazilians within the Shakhtar 11, and also a credit to Roma's patience, who in the second half, a long ball over the top to Dzeko led to the Bosnian poking the ball through the legs of Piatov. That was Dzeko's fourth Champions League goal this season and his third in his last two appearances. And he almost had one a few minutes later as well, as Shakhtar completely opened up as they tried to push forward, but it was all for naught. Roma got the sole goal that they needed, and the underdogs went out. I'm not sure that Roma will be a major powerhouse in the quarterfinals, but hey, you'll have to wait for my predictions in my quarterfinals predictions video. Congrats to Roma though, this is the first time they've made the Champions League quarterfinals in 10 years. Can you believe that? It's been a while of just sleepy Roma. Not a lot to celebrate. And now to the other match on the day, which saw United against Sevilla. Keep in mind, all that United had to do in this match was win. All they had to do was beat Sevilla, a team sitting in 5th place in La Liga, 11 points behind 4th, in front of 79,000 Manchester United fans. And what happened? Well, first off, Fellaini was given the start over Scott McTominay. Fellaini, who was injured coming into this, albeit he made a substitute appearance versus Liverpool. And speaking of selection, will Mourinho ever drop Sanchez? All he's done so far since arriving at United is give the ball away tons and stunt Anthony Martial's form. Anyway, in front of said 79,000 United fans, you wouldn't be able to tell that Sevilla were the away team, as they were playing like they were at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium. By the time the first half had ended, United had managed to have just 2 shots on target from 135 minutes of playing against Sevilla. Sevilla, by the way, had at least attempted 9 by that point. And in the second half, the boredom continued until Wissam Ben Yedder was brought onto the pitch, and 87 seconds later, he'd scored his 7th goal in the Champions League. He added another just 4 minutes later, effectively killing the tie with his 8th in 7 Champions League appearances. Lukaku did grab a goal, his 5th of the competition, which is the most a United player has scored in the Champions League since Rooney in the 2009-2010 season. So United became the first English side to lose to a Spanish team in the 2017-18 Champions League so far, and what a brutal way to do it. They allowed Sevilla 21 shots, which is the most United have allowed an opponent at Old Trafford since they faced Madrid in 2013. We're talking all competitions. This was truly dreadful, and I think that the only person you can blame is Jose Mourinho, again with his anti-football tactics, again with his terrible player selection. Fellaini starts ahead of not only Pogba, who granted was shit when he came on, but also ahead of an informed Scott McTominay. Further than that, what is the problem with just having a regular starting 11? What is so wrong with having a cohesive group of 11 players that play regularly with each other and are able to find an identity or playing style that plays to their strengths? Why not make Sevilla play your game instead of passing the ball sideways in defense in front of your own fans? I could go on and on forever on how Mourinho was absolutely trash in this Champions League matchup, but we have to give credit to Sevilla. They weren't afraid to come in and express themselves at Old Trafford, a place where, on paper, they had no business being there. And yet they absolutely dummied United across these 2 legs. Shout out to Vincenzo Montella, by the way, sacked at AC Milan, hired by Sevilla on December 28th, 2017. And no, he may not get Sevilla past the quarterfinals, but he certainly gave the fans something to remember this season. And he could give them something else later in the season in the Copa del Rey final. All right, enough of that. I'm not even a United fan, but Jose Mourinho, he irritates me these days, man. His demeanor, his anti-football tactics when playing at home where you need to just win. I used to be his biggest fan back in the day, but at Real Madrid, he started to really change. His change in demeanor, to use that word again, was quite evident. Anyways, moving on. Yesterday in the early match, Bayern Munich went away to Besiktas Park, as it's listed on the UEFA website. They really don't allow sponsored stuff in their competition. And ultimately, this match was a bit of a formality, but at least Besiktas gave their fans a chance to celebrate. And celebrate they did when Wagner Love scored in the 59th minute. The Besiktas fans have got to be considered some of the best in Europe, by the way, with Bayern Munich even saluting them on Twitter after this match. But before Wagner scored, Thiago Alcantara scored in the 18th minute, which was Bayern's 100th goal this season across all competitions. And just after the half, Gökhan Gönül unfortunately turned Rafinha's cross into his own goal. By the way, doesn't Gökhan Gönül sound like a Dragon Ball Z name? Undoubtedly my favorite part of this match, though, and finally, in the 84th minute in what was his first Champions League appearance for Bayern, Sandro Wagner chested in a David Alaba cross to make it 3-1 on the night and 8-1 on aggregate. By the way, that win made Jupp Heynckes the first manager in Champions League history to win 11 straight matches. Like I've said a few times now, Besiktas fans can hold their heads up high with the fact that Besiktas made it to the knockout rounds of the Champions League for the first time in their history, and they were the first Turkish side to ever top a Champions League group. Bayern is no easy task for any team, really. And despite some saying that they don't look up to snuff this season, and of course they're nowhere near to the level of the treble-winning side from 2013, Bayern still have to be considered one of the favorites to win the Champions League. They should at least make the semi-finals, no? And finally, it's time for Chelsea versus Barcelona, and this, my friends, was basically the Messi show, as he makes Thibaut Courtois after just 2 minutes and 8 seconds of play. That was his fastest ever goal for club and country. Then, he set up Ousmane Dembele to score his first goal for FC Barcelona, and what an emphatic way to get his first. Later, in the second half, Messi nutmegged Courtois once again to score his 100th Champions League goal, becoming just the second player ever to score 100 Champions League goals. The other player, of course, is Cristiano Ronaldo. Messi reached his milestone after just 123 Champions League appearances, whereas Ronaldo took 144. And 3-0? How you like that for some fancy handwork?
And 3-0
is how it ended. It's not as though Chelsea simply rolled over for Barcelona, however, as they hit the woodwork twice, and maybe, just maybe, should have had a penalty when it was still 3-1 on aggregate when Alonso went down in the box. I've watched that one over and over and over and still have come to the decision that if it was given, I would be okay with it. But at the same time, not given, also okay with that. To be honest though, Barcelona were worthy winners and deserved to go through, but you know what's crazy? This is the first time they have beaten Chelsea since 2006, 12 years in the making. Barcelona is a bit of a weird team this season though. The treble is still possible, but they seem to be coasting a little bit, you know? It feels like they haven't really hit that fourth gear yet, and I guess that's sort of a scary thing for the teams that they come up against, because if they do find that next level, damn, dominance. All right, that's it folks, thanks once again for taking the time to watch one of my videos, and if this is your first time watching, why not make a habit of it by hitting that subscribe button. Be on the lookout for my reacting to my round of 16 predictions video, which is dropping a little bit later today, and have yourself a lovely day. Bye!